And so, this is a project that we staked just a couple of years ago when it became available. It's, I think, one that we've had our eye on for a while. And we acquired the data from this major company just over the past month or so, through basically a data sharing agreement. And so, we're excited now that we've added this additional information to the project, which really just confirms the fact that we have this exciting copper moly porphyry.
Welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. Joining me now is Chris Bunsing. He is the CEO of Condor Resources. And Chris, great to see you again. How are you?
Great. Thanks, Steve. Good to see you.
Yeah, so some news out about your Rio Bravo project, which is in Peru. And this is really interesting news out today, Chris, and the fact that you've been able to access some historical data from a company that used to work on this particular project. So let's take a step back and talk to me a little bit about how you're able to acquire this data.
Sure. Well, we've talked about before how there are so many layers to the Condor Resources story and inherent value in the stock that's just not reflected. And so, this is a project that we staked just a couple of years ago when it became available. It's, I think, one that we've had our eye on for a while. And we acquired the data from this major company just over the past month or so, through basically a data sharing agreement. And so, we're excited now that we've added this additional information to the project, which really just confirms the fact that we have this exciting copper moly porphyry of substantial grade. The historical holes are great. They're really significant widths and substantial grade. So, we're excited to see what we can do with it.
Yeah, so the data included 11 holes of drilling back in 2012, about just under 6,000 meters or so. And combined with that data with some of the work that you've done on the ground as well, talk to me a little bit about, you mentioned a bit of what you're seeing there, but there seems to be a lot more that needs to be investigated for sure.
Definitely. So, certainly the intercepts are very encouraging, and what we learned from that, our own work and the data we've acquired is that we think there's a higher grade core about 400 meters to the southeast of where they completed the drilling in last time. And so, the project is open, in all directions and at depth. There's a lot of opportunity here to increase the size and scope of this.
Yeah, and the key to that is that you mentioned that area where they did those holes. This area you're talking about has never seen a drill hole, right? That's the exciting part about this.
Correct. This is, with the exception of that drilling, this is a relatively greenfield project. There's a lot of opportunity to expand, and it's got, again, this is 100% owned by Condor. It's got no royalties encumbering the project, so there's a lot of runway here.
Yeah, so what's the next stages here, Chris? I know that you've got a big work plan for 2025. So tell me sort of what's going to happen off of this interesting news.
Well, our projects, Pucamayo and Winyak Punta, are going to be our strategic focus, and that's what we've been saying all along. But this is just one of those additional items that we're able to daylight some value for our current shareholders, and it's just purely accretive. We'll look to go do a transaction, much like we did with Teck Resources in Corbeorco, perhaps, where we bring in another party and they take the ball and run with it, leaving us with some great residual value on the project.
Absolutely. Well, exciting times. I encourage people to go check it out on your website, and if they want to learn a little bit more about what you saw there and what that company did before. Chris, thanks so much. Good update and good to talk to you as well.
You too, Steve. Thanks.
All right. Chris Bunsing, the CEO of Condor Resources.